1766 in the interest of the loved children. This is a permanency review hearing before final, and the parties identify themselves for the record, starting with the department.
Carl Meyer with the Lubbock County District Attorney's Office here on behalf of the department. The department makes their appearance through St. Francis Ministries caseworker Ashley Lewis. Also present on the Zoom is St. Francis Supervisor Crystal Martinez. The department is present and ready to proceed.
Ms. Ratliff.
It's Teresa Ratliff, attorney for Mother Brittany Love. I have a pending motion to withdraw, and I haven't had contact with my client, Judge, if that's set for April 21st. I did provide the Zoom link at her email address.
Jody Egler for Sean McCall, Judge. President, I don't think Sean McCall is going to be here, Judge.
Ms. Trevino.
Liza Trevino, appointed to represent Robert Lynch. I am present. My client is not.
Ms. Jones.
Denise Jones. I am here in representing the Love children as the attorney ad litem, and they're both little, so they won't be here today.
Okay. And then also Ms. Sorrells, if you'd state your name and your connection to the case.
Katie Sorrells, and I am foster mom to the Love children.
All right. So Olivia is now 7 and Grayson is 3.5, and they continue in the home of their foster family, and that's in Gaines County, now a year there. Olivia is described as very smart. She's hardworking at school. She's competing in UIL academics, and that's in 1st grade. That's a lot. She's in good health. She's caught up on her weight. Grayson is also catching up in weight and growth, and just evidently very reserved at daycare, not his typical way. And so some play therapy. Is it play therapy or regular therapy starting for him?
It should be play therapy.
Play therapy. Okay.
Yes.
And that'll be with Ms. Jacob. And apparently he doesn't have any reservations or holds back on being outgoing at home, just with other people he doesn't know as well. Is that right, Ms. Sorrells?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Do you have any concerns that you want to tell us about in development or services that they might need? Anything?
I can't think of anything. No. We are wanting to get Olivia tested for ADHD, but that's pretty much all that I can think of.
Will you do that through school?
They've recommended us to her pediatrician, and so we've made a appointment for that in the past few days, and we're going to get that paperwork filled out for her.
Okay. And Ms. Lewis, anything from St. Francis on how the kids are doing?
No, they're doing great. I am happy they did get in contact with one of their older sisters who is placed out of state. And they are actually planning hopefully a trip over the summer to be able to meet in person. So that's great that the Sorrells are willing to do that for them. I know especially Olivia is really excited about seeing her older sister. But yes, they're doing great. No plans for the summer that I know of yet, but they're good kids.
Okay. And I don't want to catch Mr. Meyer off guard on this, but tell me about the order for suspending visitation or contact on some other relatives. Is that a different set? And it might take Ms. Lewis clarifying who we're talking about.
That is news to me, Judge.
Okay. Ms. Ward, can you think back to January 18th?
No, but I can work on that really fast.
Okay.
Was
Ms.
it
Jones or Ms. Lewis?
Yeah, was it for mom? I believe we suspended visits until she did the 10 AA classes. Is this what we're referring to?
But this is not the family that struggled with the out-of-state contact being invasive. I may be thinking of a different case, this same docket.
I think for Miss Love, it was the fact that we wanted her to do those 10 AA meetings before we started visits again. I don't remember out-of-state relatives.
Judge,
Right.
I think you're talking about the Gerardo case that we had.
Thank you.
Yeah,
right,
I don't believe that was my client, Judge.
Okay, good. All right then. Don't mean to cause anybody alarm. So the visits will start with this older sibling, the one visit, and it's going to take place here or there.
They're planning on meeting somewhere, maybe like to do a little trip to meet somewhere halfway. Right now, they do FaceTime visits. I'm not sure exactly how often, just I think whenever Olivia wants to call her, they're able to facilitate that. So.
Okay. And do you have any contact with Ms. Brittany Love?
I have minimal contact with her. She has relocated to San Antonio. Occasionally she will answer my text messages or calls, or not her calls, but the text messages she will. She is not participating in services that I know of there. She did mention she had attended a couple AA classes, but did not get anything signed.
Okay. Do you have any contact with Sean McCall?
I do not. Whenever he provided me his address, I have sent him some messages regarding when court is and the Zoom links, but he does not respond to those messages.
And Lynch, Robert Lynch?
I have not had any contact with him.
Okay. And Ms. Ratliff, your announcement already summarized it, but do you want to add anything from Ms.
Yeah,
Love?
Judge, I wasn't even aware she moved to San Antonio. She didn't provide me any new information. Ms. Lewis gave me a new phone number, but the motion was served on her and the order setting the hearing with the final hearing the week of the last time we were set. So she does have notice about that for April 21st. And she does know that I am her attorney until April 21st.
Okay. Thank you.
That's granted that day. Thank you.
All right. Mr. Aguilar?
Sorry, Judge, I punched the wrong button on that. No, nothing on my side, Judge. And once again, I think I've announced this more than one time. Sean's aware of the proceedings, but no contact from my side. Nothing further, Judge.
Okay. And Mr. Trevino?
I have nothing to add.
Okay. Ms. Jones for the kids.
Your Honor, I don't have anything to add that Ms. Sorrells hasn't already said. The kids are doing great. I can't get over there to see them since they're in Gaines County, but I do have that information, and I don't have any concerns at all. So I think we're in good shape.
All right. Well, anything else from the department? Mr. Meyer?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. We are set for final hearing April 21st at 9 a.m. That is in person at the Lubbock County Courthouse. And as Ms. Ratliff indicated, her motion to withdraw is set for hearing that same date. If we were to go beyond that date, another permanency review hearing will be July 12, 2023 at 1:15 via Zoom. I'm approving the kids' continued placement in their foster home, finding it safe and stable and meeting their needs. The department has continued as temporary managing conservator. Permanency review hearing before a final. We have the parties identify themselves for the record, starting with the department.
Carl Meyer with the Lubbock County DA's office here on behalf of the department, which makes its appearance through which also makes its appearance through St. Francis Ministries caseworker Uni Young and her supervisor Crystal Martinez. The department is present and ready to proceed.
Ms. Trevino.
Liza Trevino appointed to represent the mother in this case. My client has already executed an affidavit of voluntary relinquishment and will not be attending court today.
Could you pronounce her last name for me so I don't keep struggling?
I would say it the way you did.
Either one of those?
It's been so long since we met, I don't remember how she pronounced it.
All right, thank you. Mr. Aguilar?
Judge, Artie Aguilar for Simon Madrano. Judge, I did visit with Simon this morning. He's not going to be here. I'll make an announcement that I think will cover that in a minute.
All right. And Mr. Solorzano?
Isaiah Solorzano, Your Honor, present and ready, guardian ad litem, attorney ad litem for the child.
And placement, Priscilla Escamilla is attempting to join or has been called away, and hopefully we'll see her again in a minute. Final hearing is set for June 2nd in this case at 9 a.m. Mr. Meyer, do you have service for my record?
Yes, Judge. I think for respondent mother, we've got a waiver of service, and Mr. Madrano was served personally on September 7th of 2022.
All right. Well, this child, who her grandparents say they would probably like to call Olivia Marie, and probably are calling her Olivia Marie, is 8 months old, and she is in Dallas with them since December. Very healthy. She's growing well. She's home with grandma during the day. There were no health concerns or developmental concerns noted for her, Ms. Young.
That's correct, ma'am. No other issues with her. She is growing. I was gonna send you a photo. I didn't get to it today, just so you'll see how she's growing. She's really big. I mean, fat big. So the grandmother and grandfather, they are interested in adopting her. And so we're working towards getting her a CPA that works with St. Francis to get this done for her.
Okay. And I heard that Ms. Hedema is intending to relinquish her rights. Do you have any contact with her?
No, ma'am. I do reach out to Ms. Trevino at least once a month. I try to see if she's had any other updates, but she's got the same report that I have.
All right. And what about Mr. Medrano? These are his parents that the child is with.
Yes, ma'am. I do have contact with him. The last word that I got from him was that he was wanting to sign a waiver of service. I believe that was provided to Mr. Aguilar earlier, well, the latter part of last month. So I'm just waiting to see if he's going to activate that waiver or what he will do. But I do have no participation in his services at this time.
Ms. Trevino, anything to add?
Judge, I did file the waiver of service for my client on August 31st. That's when it was accepted by the clerk. I was looking online. I didn't, here it is. I hadn't downloaded the actual waiver of service, but they accepted it on August 31st at the clerk's office. Since you were asking about that, I did reach out to my client once the father's paternity testing came back, just to let her have an update so she'd know that the case was going to take a turn. As the court knows, this was initially supposed to be a baby Moses case, and investigations kind of messed all that up. But she does not. She has not changed her mind about participating.
Okay. And Mr. Aguilar?
Judge, for Simon, I did visit with Simon this morning, and I basically, he had a lot of questions on various things. I was able to answer those, Judge. In the end, he does want to proceed with voluntarily relinquishment. I do have that paperwork. I told him I would send that to him, and he could either do one of two things. He could come to Lubbock. We could get the witnesses, get the notary, get it all done. Or if he wanted to do it in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, he's more than welcome to do it. He wants to go ahead and do it in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So I'm going to send that paperwork to him. Whatever I can do to help him, I sure will. But I've told him he'll need to get some witnesses, get it from a notary. He said he could do that, but he doesn't want to proceed with voluntary relinquishment. So that's my announcement.
All right, very good. Mr. Solorzano?
Your Honor, we don't have any issues. I think we had a different number for placement. I'll be reaching out with placement, but we, considering the notes I received from department through St. Francis, we want the child to stay where she's at. She's big and growing. I think Miss Young even sent us a picture a while back. So I've seen the picture. She looks very healthy. And so, Judge, we don't want any movement right now. And considering the parents' positions on the case, we're happy with where the child's at.
Okay. And Ms. Escamilla, you're connected now. I was hearing about how healthy and well baby girl is, Olivia Marie. Do you want to add anything about how she's doing or ask for anything for her?
She's doing great. She is awake if you guys do want to see her.
Yeah.
Let me grab her real quick.
Okay.
Hey.
Hello, Olivia. Hello, Olivia.
Right here. Look.
What to look at? What to look at? Look at that good head control growing up. Yeah.
Okay, she just got up from a nap and Mickey Mouse is on, so.
Yeah, she's looking real hard over her shoulder there. Okay, well, we'll excuse her to go back to Mickey Mouse, but well, she's not even looking at me, so thank you for showing her to us.
You're welcome.
All right, well, I am going to find that this child is in good hands and her placement is safe and stable and meeting her needs. The department is continued as temporary managing conservator. Mr. Meyer, is there anything else from the department?
No, Your Honor.
Final hearing is June 2nd, 2023 at 9 a.m. Ms. Escamilla, that will be in person. If you're wanting to participate by Zoom, we have the ability to allow you to be by Zoom. So if you would please let Ms. Young know, she'll inquire on how to get that set up for you, okay?
Okay.
All right. If there's nothing else, let's see, one more permanency hearing, if we need it, would be July 12th, 2023 at 1 review hearing before final, and have the parties identify themselves for the record, starting with the department.
Carl Meyer with the Lubbock District Attorney's Office on behalf of the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. The department makes their appearance through St. Francis Ministries caseworker Geneva Gutierrez, also present in the courtroom, also present in the Zoom courtroom, is St. Francis Supervisor Karanda Slay. The department is present and ready to proceed.
Let's see, let me find Karanda. Mr. DeHaas.
Bill DeHaas, attorney for the mother, Rosemary Silvas. She was supposed to be in my office, but she hasn't arrived.
Right. And then it looks like Mr. Suniga is here. Can you state your name and turn on your camera?
Yeah, Sean Suniga. And is that how you do it?
Yeah, there you are.
Yeah.
All right. You are an alleged father to this child, and you're not yet represented by an attorney. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Let's see, Ms. Trevino.
Liza Trevino, attorney and guardian ad litem for Anakin.
And then also present is placement, and I think I lost them as well.
Bryant.
Scott Bryant.
Okay, thank you. And you are relative placement, correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right, final hearing, as I said, June 2nd. Mr. Meyer, do you have service for the record?
Judge, service was attempted on Mr. Suniga repeatedly at addresses provided in El Paso, so I think we request Mr. Suniga a better address. And Ms. Silvas was served in on August 30th of 2022.
All right. So Anakin is 11 months old, crawling, pulling up. He's healthy. He's doing well in his home with the Bryants. They are maternal cousins. There were no development issues noted for Anakin, just a healthy baby. Ms. Bryant, do you want to add anything about how Anakin's doing?
No, he's doing great. He's trying to get up and walk around, holding on to things. So he's just growing.
Okay. All right. Very good. And Ms. Gutierrez, do you want to add anything since the date of your report? Any changes for Anakin?
There are no changes. He's doing well. He has 4 teeth and he's eating more food and exploring food. And he doesn't have any specific aversions or food allergies, anything like that. He's doing really well.
All right. Do you have any contact with Ms. Silvas? Is she working on services?
He is working on services. She allowed me to take her to drug test, and I was able to take her to pick up her prescription medications, and she also signed the release of information for Star Care services that we needed from her while I was with her.
Is she visiting?
She does have a visitation schedule. She does call to cancel some of her visits, so the visitation schedule is not maintained regularly.
Okay. And she lives in Lubbock as far as you know?
Yes.
Okay. Have you had contact with Mr. Suniga before today?
I have spoken with him on the phone, yes.
Okay. Has he started any of his services yet?
No, he has not. The plan of service that I have for him is to initially determine paternity, establish paternity.
All right. So, Mr. DeHaas, would you like to say anything for Ms. Silvas?
Yes, actually. She has shown that she has proof of employment. She's still living at the protective shelter. She's done, although the report shows 4 hours, she says she's done 6 hours of the parenting classes. She is trying to visit with the child as often as her job and her situation allows. She has completed the Stonebridge evaluation. She is, although this is, the report talks about Wilbanks, she is seeing that therapist out at Star Care. And one of the things I wanted to find out was, are you getting the reports, Geneva?
That's what we were waiting on, was the release of information. So I took her and she was able to sign the release of information for Star Care. I've reached out to her case manager and I just haven't heard back from them yet to get those reports, but it was pending the ROI.
I asked for them to give me a call and they haven't called me either. But she says she's out there visiting with them and they've been conducting the therapy sessions. I guess that's about all I have to add at this point, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. So, Mr. Suniga, I hope you're able to hear well what's going on. Are you wanting to participate in this case and have...
I'm sorry, can you say that again, please? A phone call.
That's all right. Are you wanting to participate in this case and maybe request genetic testing, DNA testing?
Please.
Okay. Do you have an attorney? I already asked you that. You don't have an attorney representing you?
Negative.
Okay. You can request an attorney in this proceeding. Parents are entitled to court-appointed counsel if they cannot afford to hire their own attorney. I have a specific form you need to fill out if you want to be considered a court-appointed attorney. If you choose to do that after the genetic test, you can do that. You can wait and see what the results are. I do have a question though. You did not sign what's called an acknowledgement of paternity at the hospital when the baby was born, did you?
I was in jail at the time.
Okay. All right. So genetic testing is the way to find out whether you are dad or not. And if you're able to, what city do you live in?
El Paso, Texas.
El Paso. So the reason that CPS has been trying to serve you is to give you legal notice of this case, to give you proper notice so that you can participate. That's why they want the address. Yes, there might be some people calling, knocking at your house, but the main issue is they need to get you proper legal notice of the case. So would you be willing to put your address in the chat box? We're live on YouTube, so I don't want you to say it out loud. But if you want to send a chat to, let's see, Mr. Meyer here, or you can choose the everyone button. That way it's not on YouTube, but you can still send your address so we can get you scheduled for genetic testing in El Paso rather than having to set it up in Lubbock.
I'm sorry, you said to who exactly, specifically?
Can you see, if you pull down the chat menu, you may be able to choose to send your address to the person labeled Carl Meyer. Did you have any, I know you're doing a couple of things there, but I want to be sure if you have any questions at this point or need to add anything that you have a chance to do that.
So far, no, I don't. Not that I can think of. Okay.
And Mr. DeHaas, your client is now in the courtroom.
I see. I was going to point that out.
Okay. And Ms. Trevino, thank you for filing ad litem statement in compliance for today's hearing. Did you have anything to add for Anakin?
Just that I'm happy with his placement. I would recommend that that placement continue. I would also recommend that no visitation be set up between Mr. Zuniga and Anakin, since it would have to be virtual anyway. I don't know that Anakin would even get anything out of that, but I would prefer that that not occur until we get paternity testing back.
That seems reasonable. Any objection, Mr. Zuniga? Do you agree that you find out that you are or are not first?
No, fair enough.
All right. I will make that an order. No visits until establishment by genetic testing. And Mr. Meyer, do you have anything else for the department today?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Final hearing is June 2nd, 2023 at 9 a.m. That's not a lot of time ahead for us. It may have to be reset depending on if we're still waiting for genetic testing results. Mr. Suniga, you are allowed to request to appear virtually like this. We will all be in person at the Lubbock County Courthouse. If you need to appear virtually, If you will notify my court coordinator by email, I will see if there's any objection to you appearing remotely, and we'll establish that to where you'll be on Zoom and the rest of us will be in person at the courthouse, okay?
I'm sorry, who's the court coordinator again that I was gonna email?
Do you see that? It's labeled court coordinator. And then it says SPFCC number 1. Okay, so she sent a chat so you can catch it. All right, is there anything else we need to take up today, Mr. Meyer?
No, ma'am.
Okay, I may have already asked you that. We will have another permanency review hearing after final, possibly. I'm going to set that date to July 12th, 2023 at 2 p.m. That will be via Zoom. The June 2nd date is in person at the Lubbock County Courthouse. I am approving Anakin's continued placement with the Bryants, finding that that placement is safe and stable and meeting his needs. And the department is continued as temporary managing conservator. The court unable at this time to return care to a parent. To each parent, at each hearing, I'm required to warn you that your parental rights and duties could be terminated or restricted if you can't provide a safe and stable environment. An initial permanency hearing, and the parties identify themselves for the record, starting with the department.
Carl Meyer with the Lubbock County District Attorney's Office on behalf of the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. The department makes their appearance through St. Francis Ministries caseworker Jasmine Brown. Also present on the Zoom is St. Francis Supervisor Crystal Martinez. The department is present and ready to proceed.
Mr. Aguilar.
Judge Aria Aguilar from Warren Jackson, both present, ready on it.
Ms. Ratliff.
Teresa Ratliff for Nolan Cruz. He genetic tested, so he is the father, and I'm present. My client is not present, Judge.
Mr. DeHaas.
Bill DeHaas, attorney for Nicholas, the child.
Casa.
Jordan Norton, Casa.
And your advocate's not trying to join, is he?
No, he was unable to get off work today.
All right. So Nicholas is a year old and 11 months, and his new placement in March is in Big Spring with maternal aunt. And the department indicates, St. Francis indicates that Nicholas is settling in well with his family. He already knew them, already had a relationship. Has he gotten his speech therapy moved over to his new town, Ms. Brown?
Yes, the ECI coordinator called me and told me that they were getting that set up.
Okay. And that's really his only therapeutic need identified? Okay.
Yes.
Otherwise, development is on track. Did he have any other concerns that you wanted to raise today?
No other concerns with him. He's doing great. He loves it there. He's adjusting well to being with Felicia and his cousins. He has 2 older cousins that's living there. He is being spoiled, it sounds like, and he's having a great time.
Okay. Tell me about progress and services for Miss Jackson. What is she working on?
Right now, she is working on individual counseling with Mr. Gatlin. She's attended 2 appointments with him. They should have one scheduled for April. She's also completed an OSAR with no recommendations at this time. She participated in a drug test for us on the 29th, March 29th. It's the first one that we've had since December. It was negative on her UA, but positive on the hair follicle. She's also completed all of her parenting classes, all 20 hours that we asked of her. And she has been attending frequent visits with Nicholas.
Good. I guess she goes down there, or does he come halfway?
Right now, she's been going out there. She's gone out there twice since he was moved on Friday evenings.
Okay. And then for Mr. Cruz, he is not interested in participating in services, if I understand correctly?
Yes, and I believe that there was a waiver of service filed with the court.
Okay. Genetic testing came back and results were filed record February 15th, 2023. He was not excluded. So let me go to Ms. Ratliff for that. Child support and medical support and establishment. Is he objecting to being established, or is he accepting the establishment?
Judge obviously is expecting establishment based on the results of genetic testing. I have not talked to him about the issue of child support yet. I just overlooked that in preparation for today's hearing. I wasn't thinking we would be addressing that. He has indicated throughout the case from the very beginning, he was not going to participate or be involved with the child, nor did he have any family members he wanted considered. So at this point, he's not going to participate. And if the court's inclined to order support today, I would just ask that it be at a very minimal amount. I know that he does have a family he supports, and he is the only breadwinner in that household. If the court needs more information about his finances in order to establish child support, I would have to ask that we have that issue reserved for another hearing so I could get some more information from him.
Right. Mr. Meyer, the department's asking for child support and medical support.
Judge, I wasn't planning on addressing that either. I certainly think that's a possibility, but I'll have to talk to Ms. Ratliff and learn more about them.
I'm inclined to go ahead and set support. Ms. Jackson is ordered to pay $50 a month child support and $35 a month medical support. At final hearing, if this is not a termination case, then I would expect to have income information and set support accurately for Mr. Cruz at that time. But my inclination is to go ahead and set that minimal support at this time that goes to the department, and then get the more accurate support set at final. So I am going to order $50 child support, $35 medical support starting May 1st, 2023 for Mr. Cruz. And Mr. DeHaas for the child.
Everything's going apparently quite well, Your Honor. I don't have any questions or concerns at this time.
Okay. Casa.
No questions or concerns. Our main thing was just getting the drug testing started, and it looks like it's getting started again.
Okay. All right. Well, I will approve Nicholas's continued placement with Felicia Burns. I believe that's his. Yeah, that's the right name, Felicia Burns. Finding it safe and stable and meeting his needs, and the department is continued as temporary managing conservator. Nicholas not yet being able to be returned to the care of his parent. I'm going to set final hearing. It will be September 8th, 2023 at 9 a.m. Prior to that, we'll have another review hearing like this one. That will be August 3rd at 2 p.m. That will be by Zoom. The September date will be in person at the Lubbock County Courthouse. Ms. Jackson, I think you're doing well in your services so far. I would just urge you to keep them up and to just be as regular in all those things as you can so we can have a good history of sobriety when we get to final hearing. I expect that your hair follicle will go down as testing stacks up over the summer. Okay? All right.
I'm sorry, I forgot one thing.
Yes.
Is that okay?
Yes.
I forgot that we wanted to also mention that Nicholas had been having visits with his half siblings, and we wanted to make sure that he could still have some of those. We were thinking at least monthly if possible.
Okay, Ms. Brown, tell me about that.
Yeah, so they were having visits pretty regularly when Nicholas was placed in Lubbock in the foster home here. I haven't spoke with their father recently, but he did say that he would be willing to take the kids out there to see Nicholas, or if we could bring Nicholas up here and have visits with them on a weekend at some point. He's very willing to go to Nicholas, so I will definitely reach out to him and get something set up for them.
Okay, good, good. Mr. Norton, any concern about how frequently those occur?
We just asked for monthly at least, just so he still maintains some of that normalcy.
Okay, monthly seems appropriate if their dad can get them there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, very good. Anything else?
I had a question about my other two children. I haven't had, he hasn't allowed me to have in contact with them, and I've reached out and I haven't got to really talk to my other children at all either. Is there a way that maybe we can all meet together possibly for supervised visits so I can see my other kids as well?
Those children are not subject to my court orders. Are you able to talk to him, or is he refusing to talk to you, Dad?
He's not necessarily talking to me, but I can try to reach out to him again, because we have joint custody. So I would always get them on every other weekend and stuff like, on Thursdays
make sure when you speak with him, let him know what requirements St. Francis has in making sure that Miss Jackson is supervised around the children, to make sure it's not something simple in that he's just afraid of breaking rules, and let him know what would be acceptable in terms of her having visits while she's subject to this court order. And Ms. Ward, did you want to add something?
Yeah, and maybe because I just probably don't know enough about this particular case to say this, but I would also want to look at their court orders. I think whatever orders are in that particular hearing that we're not a party to, we would want to make sure we're honoring them. So maybe when Miss Brown visits with Dad, she could see those court orders and then kind of help him. If there's a way to coordinate it, that would be great. But there may be things in another separate court order outside of us that prevent contact too. So it's just blending everything and trying to figure out what is the best actions.
And Ms. Jackson, if you have a copy of that order, would you make sure your attorney has access to it so he can look it over? Okay. All right. Is an initial permanency. If there's nothing, the parties identify themselves for the record, starting with the department.
Carl Meyer with the Lubbock County DA's office here on behalf of the department. Department makes their appearance through St. Francis Ministry caseworker Delphina Mata. Also present on the Zoom is St. Francis Supervisor Heather LeQuay. Department is present and ready.
Ms. Long.
Haley Long, standing in for Christina Woods, deputy attorney for respondent mother Chastity Sanders. I am present. I don't believe our client is.
Mr. Moore.
Jim Moore, attorney for unknown father. I'm present and ready.
Ms. Jones.
Denise Jones, attorney for the Sanders child. I am present and ready.
And then also present is Miss Anders, that rhymes with Sanders, and she is placement.
Yes, and Miss Aria.
Look at that pretty face. Look how alert she is.
She is, and she has gorgeous blue eyes. You can't see so well right here, but
no, I can't. I can't.
Yeah,
see
they're so pretty.
Oh, I'm glad she's here today. She is 4 months old, and in December, she was able to be discharged from the hospital and get to be placed with her foster family in Lubbock. She's a preemie, but actually looks quite vigorous and strong. ECI works with her on muscle strength and neck strength, and she's gaining weight, obviously, and growing. Let's see, Ms. Mata, do you have any concerns about Aria?
I don't have any concerns with her in placement. She's growing well, responding well to her ECI therapy. They're working on tummy time and just now starting to work with her on rolling over, grasping for toys. And as Miss Amanda Anders has pointed out, trying to figure out what to do with her arms. So she's doing well with that. Just had her 4-month check in March and did have her immunizations at that time. She's no longer on the preemie scale. She's on the regular growth scale. So that's a big plus for her.
Now she seems like a very typical 4-month-old as far as what she can do, just from what the little we can see of her. And Ms. Anders, do you have anything you think she needs or that we should be talking about specifically today?
No, I think she's doing really well. She's come a long way in a few months, but we're right on track as far as the doctors and ECI thinks. And I'm sure we'll talk about it a little bit. My only concern at this point is our visitations we do every week, just because we have to go up to St. Francis offices and just wait for an hour to see if they show up or not. And so if there's any way for us to maybe see if mom can confirm that before we get out every morning. But other than that, I don't have any concerns.
Okay, I'm glad you raised that issue. Ms. Mata, when is the last time Ms. Sanders has had a visit?
She has not.
She's
not visited with the baby at all.
Okay. Well, I don't think anyone will object, but I'm going to order that the baby not be transported for any more visits unless Ms. Sanders shows up at St. Francis at her scheduled time to request her visit. If she shows up and if she'll wait, then Aria can come down for the visit. But rather than have it the other way where Aria is waiting and not seeing anybody. Okay. Let's see, Ms. Mata, does Ms. Sanders want to work any of her services as of this moment?
Not that I'm aware of. I've attempted several times to reach out to her with no luck at all. She responded initially to setting up an appointment for the family plan, but that didn't happen. She ended up giving me an address that was no longer it was no longer her address.
Okay. And do you have any contact with any person who might be the father of this child?
No.
Ms. Long?
I don't have anything to add today, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Moore, do you have any names to follow up on?
I don't, Judge.
Okay. Ms. Jones?
Your Honor, other than to parrot what's already been said, the child is obviously doing quite well. Ms. Anders told me that she, when she was born, she was, I think she said about 4 pounds, and she's now 11.5 pounds. So she has made significant progress in 3 months. And she's sleeping well. She sleeps 6 hours a night, which is not all night through, but it beats every 2 hours. So
yeah.
Ms. Anders says she's well with that. And obviously she's eating quite well. And the only concern I had was the same one that Ms. Anders had about taking the baby out, having her wait, and then nobody show up. So if that's already been addressed through your order, I think that I don't really have any more issues.
Okay. And Mr. Meyer, anything else from the department?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. I am going to set final hearing. It will be September 8th, 2023 at 9 a.m. And we will have a review hearing on July the 12th at 2 p.m. Review hearing by Zoom, final hearing in person at the Lubbock County Courthouse. I am approving Aria's continued placement with Ms. Anders, finding her home is safe and stable, and that is meeting Aria's needs. And I find this child cannot be returned to the care of a parent, so the department is continued as temporary managing conservator.